Search it out. You'll see 364 or 361 A.D. Constantine wrote an edict and put it throughout the world and said, no longer shall the Christians, he considered himself a Christian from the Catholic diocese or whatever. He was converted and became a Christian, and he called himself a Christian, and he said, no longer shall the Christians keep the Sabbath of the Jews, but will work on that day and will keep the day and rest on the day of their Lord, Mithra, the sun god.
Okay, we had to listen to that whole statement there because we have to talk to the whole statement. First of all, he says in 364 or 361, Constantine made a decree.
Do we have an audio?
Which one?
And that proves to be a lie.
You want this one?
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
It could be a memory. It could be just a memory.
Hang on just a sec. Constantine died on May 22nd, 337. Okay, now I know what people will say here. Okay, well the guy got his date wrong. Yeah, okay. But this is not where the end of this goes. I'm not exactly sure what it is he is attempting to reference. And the reason I say that is because I think he's conflating three different things and putting them all into one. I really, really looked at this. I really tried to find what he was looking at. So in 321 AD, Constantine decreed, and this is a quote, on the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest and let all workshops be closed, end quote. Okay. Now I thought, you know what? Maybe there's some context to this. By the way, this is in Codex Justinianus, I don't know how to say it. And I will give you references in your show notes. I went and found another translation of this. This is the entire quote. Let all the judges, the peoples of cities, and those employed in all trades remain quiet on the holy day of Sunday. Persons residing in the country, however, can freely and lawfully proceed with the cultivation of the fields, as it frequently happens that the sowing of grain or the planting of vines cannot be deferred to a more suitable day, and by making concessions to heaven, the advantage of the time may be lost. Okay, that's the whole quote. Now, within the entire document, there is not one reference to Mithras. Not one. So he says at the end that all the Christians are to celebrate the day to Mithras. This is not found anywhere in the entire document. That's number one. I think that the idea that the Christians had to work on Shabbat or on the Sabbath, I think he's getting this. I think he's getting this from the Council of Laodicea, which took place in 363 to 364. This would actually make sense since he references 364 or 361. So I think that he's actually mixing these two up. And of course, we've talked about this many times. Canon 29 says that the Jews should work, or the Christians should work on Shabbat. And why? So that because they didn't want to be viewed as Judaizers. Now, I've spoken many times against the Council of Laodicea. I think it's heretical. I think that this council was not only wrong, but I mean, when Luther says, therefore, not only can the Pope err, but councils can err as well. My mind directly goes to the Council of Laodicea. But this was not done by Constantine. Constantine was long dead by this time. And so the notion that Constantine changes the Sabbath, here's the other thing.
What year was that? Is that still 4th century or is that 5th?
That's still 4th century. It's later though. It's about 40 years after 20 years after Constantine dies. That's not right. 40 years after Constantine dies. So my time's
That's
off.
probably
Anyway.
what he's thinking about, because I just did a quick search. I don't even know where this is, but on Google, 363, 364 is where it's dating Council of Laodicea.
Right.
So that's closer to the date that he gave.
Right. Here's the thing, though, is that Constantine, now, people might say, well, okay, maybe it wasn't Constantine, he just got mixed up. this is something that we hear preached all the time. Constantine changed the Sabbath to Sunday. This is not true. Constantine becomes a Christian. When we say he becomes a Christian, he didn't get baptized until he was on his deathbed. That's number one. Number two, he believed in a pantheon, and he believed that Jesus was part of that pantheon. He did not believe that Jesus was the only God. At least that's what it seems like from his writings, from what other people say about him. Not necessarily what he wrote, but what other people say about him, okay? Here's the thing, is that Constantine desperately wants Christian doctrine to be seen as legitimate. Constantine isn't making doctrine. A lot of people think that, like, at the Council of Nicaea, Constantine was the one who made all these ideas. No, he paid for it. He paid for the council to come together, and then the church bishops and the leadership of the church were the ones who actually made the doctrine. Constantine, there's debates on whether or not Constantine even stuck around. He opened up the proceedings, and then he's not talked about anymore. So in this case, in 321, when Constantine makes this decree that the Christians are supposed to rest on Sunday, it's not because he's changing anything. What Constantine is doing is he is actually affirming what has already been established as Christian doctrine. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.